word that I want to quickly take in from Revati. Also, the entire country now praying for that lone survivor group captain Varun. But as we pointed out, that the situation is critical. If Revati is still with us, I want to just take a quick word. Revati, any word that you're picking up from the hospitals? Will we see an official word from the doctors anytime soon?
We're expecting to hear from the doctor soon, but so far at this point, no, we only know that his condition is extremely critical. And the pictures and visuals that we had from the accident site also hinted at the kind of impact that those who were on the helicopter did suffer. Even survivors, the kind of burns that they suffered, all of that very clear in the pictures there. And the eyewitness accounts, of course, all of them, the first responders, the locals there who had gone to rescue and evacuate, telling about how they saw charred bodies, beyond recognition, most of the bodies. So there were just these 2 or 3 bodies that they could manage to rescue from there alive, 2 or 3 whom they could actually identify, but the rest were charred beyond recognition. That is the kind of impact that that has had on these people during the crash, after the helicopter crashed into a tree in that area, trekking for about a kilometer or 2. The eyewitness accounts clearly state that the survivor, the lone survivor, the fact that he has survived in itself is a miracle. So we have to wait for the doctor's confirmation regarding his situation. Only if he is fine and fit to be airlifted can he be moved to any other place for treatment. But at this point of time, what we're hearing is not good news. We're hearing that he's extremely critical and there is no final decision yet on further course of treatment in terms of moving him from the spot.
Okay, Revati and Shreya, thanks for getting us all those details. We'll continue to come back to you. Let me bring in my guests as well. We have Major General retired A.K. Siwach, a defense expert. We also have with us Major Mohd, retired defense expert, also joining us on the broadcast. Good morning to both of you. General Siwach, I want to come to you first. Now more details emerging. We're putting out those visuals moments before the crash really happened. 3 areas currently being looked into, whether it was weather conditions, whether it was too foggy, cloudy. The other is whether it was a technical failure of the engine, the machine itself, or third, was it a human error? But I want to begin first as far as the weather conditions. Now with those visuals, we can see a thick layer of fog around the area, which has been captured by eyewitnesses. But I go back to the point, which is that could a Mi-17 V5 not be able to navigate itself through this fog? What is your understanding?
Absolutely, Ridhima, there is no doubt. Mi-17 Victor 5 is basically a very modern platform which has got 2 engines and also capability to see through the cloud. It has a radar which can see through it. But certainly if something has gone wrong, that is puzzling. These conditions are not very new, and from Sulu to Wellington, it only takes about 15 to 20 minutes. However, the way the things are unfolding, it looks like it was very foggy. It has become cloudy. Cloud can take place at a very short notice. So that possibly can be reason. But certainly this platform is a very modern platform. It has a capability and capacity to see through. It has a twin engine. It is for a VIP duties. The 60 countries all around the world are using this. So therefore, the reliability factor of this platform is very huge. Now, the second issue is any technical problem. That chances are also less because it is on a VIP duty. There are SOPs and protocol. All, its parts would have been checked, thoroughly inspected. And third thing is a human error or a pilot error.
Correct.
That also is a very less chance because what has happened is it is been piloted by the commanding officer of 107 helicopter unit himself, by Wing Commander Chauhan. So it is very puzzling, that in spite of all the things there, how it has happened. After all, it is an accident. It has taken place. Somewhere something has gone wrong. So that possibility is there, and it will be only found out by court of inquiry. But it looks very strange and all, because after all, it's a very stable platform. And it is not that it is flying in places like Siwach or in Northeast, where weather condition changes too very fast. Here the weather conditions have changed, but they can't be changing so very fast, and the flight could have been delayed in case if the weather conditions would have been known, because the time was at their disposal, because what CDS was to give address in Defence Service Staff College in Wellington, that was only scheduled in the evening. So it could have been done. So it all surprised one how such a thing has happened, because this is a very stable
and this
one
is
can say
exactly what a lot of
reliable.
aviation experts, sir, are also pointing out to all those we've been talking since yesterday, that the Mi-17 V5 was a chopper that was fairly new, was steady, has an intuitive cockpit, then did the radar system not throw up anything for the pilot? We'll get to all those questions in just a bit because the court of inquiry has already been ordered. But Major Shah, I want to bring you in at a time when we're of course talking about the way forward in terms of the inquiry, so on and so forth. I also want to talk about your personal remembrance and any anecdote, if any, of your meetings with the CDS himself, because this is something that almost everybody who's come on the channel spoken about, that despite having the toughest job at hand and having a busy schedule, he always made time for anybody who approached him. Any anecdote that you would like to share with our viewers?
Sure. He was Corps Commander, the GOC 3 Corps in Dimapur, Rangapahad, Nagaland. The same corps where I was the ADC to the GOC. That means a personal staff officer, like when we are talking about Brigadier Linder, or when we are talking about his staff officers. So similarly, I did the ADC tenure to the GOC 3 Corps, but not to General Bipin Rawat, of course, to a general much before that in the year 2006. That was Lieutenant General Zamiruddin Shah. In the year 2012, I had gone to Nagaland for some work. So I called on the GOC. I told him, sir, I was ADC over here. And I had dinner with Mrs. Rawat and General Rawat. And we were discussing about the frequent change of weather in the Northeast and how the GOC in my time and we would travel by helicopter, because FRICO covers a vast area of 4.5 states. The entire Nagaland, Manipur, Tripura, Mizoram, and South Assam, with frequent change of weather. So that was a challenge, okay? There were instances I told him, sir, once the GOC and we were flying to Mizoram and we got stuck. So the GOC's helicopter went off and my helicopter was still held back. So I was held back for 4 days. He said, one lesson learned: never ever pressurize the pilot to go against the ship. They know the best. And it's wrong. When a senior would pressurize and say, no, even if there's bad weather, you go ahead with it. Or you fly low. No. So that was one thing I remember very, very distinctly. Thereafter, then Bipin Rawat also told me that his father also was in the army.
Correct.
His father was the deputy chief of the army staff, General Rawat. So I was like, oh my God, that's wonderful, sir.
Yeah.
And at that time, my father was the deputy chief of the army staff. So I told him, sir, that's great, but that puts me under a lot of pressure. He said, no, don't be under pressure, because normally he said the previous generation would be a step or two ahead of the father's generation. I remember these words very clearly coming from General Bipin Rawat.
That's why, Major Shah, that's why it's such a huge loss, not just to the Indian Army, but to the country, because he was an army officer who literally gave his entire life serving the nation. We'll continue this conversation with my colleagues and my guests. This will be a top focus right through the day. But for now, we're slipping into a very short break.